Good day, everyone. Let's try to solve this geometry problem from the Bangladeshi Mathematical Olympiad. And here is the problem. We're given chord AB is equals to AP plus PB, where AP is equals to 12 and PB is equals to 20. Chord CD is equals to CQ plus QD, where CQ is equals to 10 and QD is equals to 24. And chord RS passing through points P and Q, where PQ is equals to 14. We're going to find the measure of RS. So since we're dealing with chords, we're going to recall the different theorems about the chords of a circle. But before anything else, take note that we're solving for the measure of RS. But as you can see in the figure, RS is comprised of three segments. You have PR, PQ, which is given, having a measure of 14, and QS. So in order to find the measure of RS, then we should be able to find first the value of, or the measure of PR and the measure of QS. But since we don't have these measures, we will represent the measures of these segments of the chord by different variables. So we can let the measure of PR be equal to X and the measure of QS be equals to Y. Now, when we talk about the chords of a circle, we have the intersecting chords theorem. But the intersecting chords theorem only deals about two chords at a time. We don't have a theorem for a circle that deals with three chords at a time. So in this case, in order for us to solve for the length of RS, we need to disregard one of the chords, either AB or CD. Now let's try to disregard chord CD first. So when we disregard chord CD, notice that chord RS is now divided into two segments. You have PR and PS. And PS has a measure of 14 plus Y, while the PR has a measure of X. Now, if we recall the intersecting chords theorem, the intersecting chords theorem tells us that the product of each of the segments of a chord is equals to the product of the segments of the other chord that intersects it. So, using that theorem, we can have 12 times 20 is equals to X, which is this one, times 14 plus Y, which is the length of this segment here. We simplify that, that becomes 240 is equals to 14x plus xy. Now this time, let's disregard chord AB. Now if we disregard chord AB, notice that chord RS is now divided into two different segments. You have segment QR having a measure of 14 and X, so this is 14 plus X, and QS, which has a measure of Y. And CD have segments measuring 10 and 24, so the products of their segments, since they're intersecting chords, will be equal. So that means 10 times 24 is equals to 14 plus X, which is the measure of this, times Y. And solving for that, you have 240 equals 14y plus xy. Now, you have these two equations. Let's try to solve two equations. You have 240 equals 14x plus xy and 240 equals 14y plus xy. We subtract the two equations. That will give us 14y equals 14x equals 0, which gives us 14y equals 14x. This means that y is equals to x. And from this equation, we can substitute either the x by y or the y by x. But if we chose to substitute the y by x, we can use any of the previous equations that we had. We can have 240 equals 14 plus x times x. this will give you 240 equals 14x plus x squared. So we now have this quadratic equation. We write this in standard form that becomes x squared plus 14x minus 240. We factor this one out. You have x plus 24 and x minus 10. And when we solve for each of the values of x by equating each factor to 0, we will have two values of x, that is negative 24 and x is equals to negative 10. But take note, x is a length of a segment, so it cannot be negative, so we disregard negative 24. So our solution is just x equals 10. So we substitute this one to x equals y. Since x is equals to y, then y is also equal to 10. Now, we can solve for rs. Rs is equals to pq, which is 14, plus pr, which is x, and qs, which is y. So you have 14 plus x plus y. So this will be 14 plus x is 10, y is 10. Therefore, rs is equals to 34, and this is our answer. And the problem is now solved. So that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more geometry problems. Enjoy learning.